Welcome to the next part of our online exam club to help you prepare for the Cambridge FCE exam. Today we're going to look at part 3 of the reading and use of English paper, and this is the word formation exercise. A lot of my students can go through this exercise very quickly, but they often find that they make simple mistakes, either spelling or in understanding. And the first thing I want to say about this part of the test is that remember, there's a reason why the use of English paper, which used to be separate in the exam, was brought into the reading and use of English paper. There is a lot of reading that goes on here. Your reading skills are being tested, as well as your knowledge of word building. So, for this part, again, like in part 2, the open-close, it's really important that you write your answers clearly on the answer sheet in capital letters. This part tests your knowledge of prefixes and suffixes. So these are the bits that go before a word or after a word to change its form. And we're also looking at some internal changes. And here I'm thinking of going from, for example, high to height, the addition of the E, long to length, changing the O to an E, as well as adding letters at the end. So when you approach this task, first you need to read the text, and around each gap try to decide which kind of word you need. Will it be a noun, a verb, an adjective, or an adverb? And judging by the context, decide if it will be positive or negative in meaning. When it comes to nouns, think as well about if it's singular or plural, or generally if it's uncountable. All of these will affect the choice of word that you write. So I'd like you to attempt this activity now yourselves. You can pause this video. If you need to, follow the links in the description to the video below. Otherwise, it's the same PDF as we've been using, the Teacher's Handbook for Cambridge First Exam. And again, we're on page 22 for this. So take a few minutes to do this. Be careful with your spelling. Remember, get into the habit of writing in capital letters. Okay. So let's look at the answers together. For number 17, we need a verb. The event to be highly successful. Starting from prove, we know that the verb is prove. So the answer we want here is in the past simple form, proved. Number 18, the word we want is a noun. And we know this because before the gap we have a. We have the indefinite article. So we want a noun and it's singular. From vary, we need to make an internal kind of change and add ty at the end, so we have variety. Number 19 is also a noun, and again we see this because it says the. And the word we want is enjoyment. In number 20, again we want a noun. Cycling here works as an adjective to build up our noun phrase, so we want safety. In number 21, we know we want an adjective. We know this because after the gap we have the word bikes. And bikes, of course, is a plural noun. We're describing this noun, so we need an adjective. But we need to be careful here. We want to read more closely. There were also some rather bikes on display. Now we're changing the context a little bit. Before we were talking about bikes, now we're looking at something different. So we want a negative adjective to show that this is not usual. So the answer is unusual. For number 22, we want the noun for the kind of person who can ride a bike. And we know that it's plural because there is the number 6 right before the gap. So we want riders. For number 23, we want an adjective to describe the word damage. So we have environmental. Be careful when you're copying this. The word environment is given, but when we say it, we lose that middle N. Keep it in the spelling, please. Don't lose a mark simply because you're rushing in the exam. And then finally in number 24, we want a noun and we want it to be plural. We know that it should be plural because there isn't a singular article just here. We don't have a. So they also provided suggestions. Okay, so that was quite a short part of the test overall. Hopefully it wouldn't take you too long to complete this part, so you can devote a bit more time to what we'll look at in the next video, which is part 4 of the keyword transformation, probably the hardest part of the Use of English test. So I hope you'll join me again soon for that.